Call this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order. It is October 14th, 2025. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson. Here. Vogelzang.
Here.
Quinn.
Present.
Peterson.
Here.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, the city administrator, and several other staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Knutson.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Next item, we have a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas domestic abuse, dating abuse, and stalking affects women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds, causing long-term physical, psychological, and emotional harm. And whereas 1 in 3 Americans has witnessed an incident of domestic violence, and whereas children who experience domestic abuse are at a higher risk for failure in school, mental illness, substance abuse, suicide, and may choose violence as a way to solve problems later in life. And whereas domestic abuse in rural communities exists as a hidden, silent, and often unrecognized crime that is often underreported. And whereas through the inspiration, courage, and persistence of victims of domestic abuse, their children and advocates, our communities are learning to recognize the impact of violence in the home and within intimate relationships. And whereas the DVIP and RVAP have worked to end violence and abuse in intimate relationships for more than 46 years through the collaborative partnerships of advocates, volunteers, local municipalities, criminal justice, health and human services, faith communities, business leaders, and private citizens. And whereas our community's achievements should be commended, and we must continue our commitment to respect and support victims of domestic abuse and to prevent further violence in our community. Now, therefore, I, Megan Foster, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Coralville, and urge all people to work together to eliminate domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking from our communities. Signed on this 14th day of October, 2025, Megan Foster, Mayor. Okay, and we have a representative from DVIP here to speak with us this evening. I do have to admit I am a little bit biased because this is a person that I am very, very fond of as a former colleague. We have Allie Tippie here, who is the new, can I make the announcement?
You can.
Okay, the new Community Engagement Director for the Domestic Violence, DVIP and RVAP. So take it away, Allie.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council as well, especially for declaring this Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but also for all of your continued support. Over this last year, and particularly in fiscal year 25, we served over 242 victim survivors in Coralville in particular, and in Johnson County over 1,600. So our services are really critical, especially as our program continues to grow. We opened our new emergency shelter in November of last year, and we are now able to house 70 individuals at a time, which is incredible. But we've also served over 650 individuals since that time, which means the need is there. We have been full every day since February of this year. Additionally, last October, we officially took on sexual assault services for this victim service region in Iowa, and it has really impacted the work that we have done. We are now one of the largest dual service agencies, not just in the state of Iowa, but in the entire country. Additionally, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as the mayor has declared. We have several events that have already taken place, but we have one more event here in Johnson County that I encourage you all to attend. It is the Clothesline Project event. It is this next Tuesday on October 21st from 5 to 8 p.m. It's at Merge in downtown Iowa City, right near the public library. It is a display of survivor stories. Survivors come to the event and they paint on t-shirts their story, not just their story, but maybe the story of someone they know, maybe the story of their loved one, and we hang them like a clothesline. This is to highlight the pervasiveness of domestic and sexual violence, but also to give survivors a voice in that environment. So again, thank you for your continued support, not just as individuals, but your funding support really makes a critical difference, especially at this time for victims. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's give Allie a round of applause. Allie, do you want to tell us, how did Shop for Shelter go?
Shop for Shelter was a record-breaking year. We had
Okay.
$68,000 worth of in-kind donations come in for the victim survivors in our shelter, so it was incredible.
You know, when I would work that event, there would be actual, like, mountains.
Yep.
I mean, like,
Oh, yes.
yeah, like up to the, like, so much stuff. And the Coralville Hy-Vee usually does pretty well.
Yep, it did amazing. It did.
Yep.
It was one of our record-breaking stores this year. So.
Amazing.
Yep.
I
Thank
love
you
hearing
all.
that. All right, let's grab a photo real quick. And if you want to bring those materials up here to share, yeah, we can get those passed around. Yeah.
I can pass it over.
Thank you very much. Hi. Oh, hi. Nice to meet you, Marnie. Nice to meet you. There you go. Thank you.
Yep, I got
Okey-doke. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next item, we have community comments. And this is a time for community members to speak to us about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are on the agenda but are not subject to a public hearing. So I think we have some folks that would like to speak to us this evening. If you could, I think folks have signed in already. If you'd like to step up to the microphone, you know the drill.
Hello, Katie Freeman, Coralville resident. I use they, them pronouns. As I prepared my comments for today, I struggled with what to say. To be honest, I am exhausted. Since January, I and other members of the trans and queer community have been showing up with public comments, emails, meetings, and phone calls, sharing our lived experiences, our fears, and the real ways we are being not only discriminated against, but targeted, often violently, by our own state and federal government, not only through changes in legislation, but also through propaganda. The author, Alok, and Beyond the Gender Binary, states, at a fundamental level, we are still having to argue for the very ability to exist. Supporting this resolution to reinforce and strengthen the Coralville Human Rights Ordinance to protect access to resources for the transgender community without discrimination bravely pushes back on the active endeavor to erase transgender folks from public life. I want to thank Councilors Knutson, Peterson, Wynn, and Goodrich, along with Mayor Foster, for recognizing we exist and have the right to do so without discrimination. This resolution is a great step. However, it will be a step in word only until put in action. When this resolution and the ordinance are tested, not just for the transgender community or queer community, but for the BIPOC community, immigrant community, differently able community, or any other marginalized community protected from discrimination in the Human Rights Ordinance, we expect to see action taken to protect those communities. So let us celebrate this important step forward without losing sight of the promises this step makes. And we look forward to working together in the future.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Katie. I'm not running for city council. That Katie is. I'm a Coralville resident, and I'm here to ask the council to pass the Equal Protections Resolution. In an email that I saw on Reddit, Councilmember Voselgang, sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing names, asks in regard to this resolution, quote, what would happen if another specific minority population would request a resolution to call attention to their unique interests or concerns? Let's say a group of single black men over 75 or an organization of Asian women would request a resolution. These groups also are a protected class. In my opinion, passing this proposed resolution would set an absolutely unnecessary precedent, and I do not think it is wise. A precedent I do not think is wise. I feel like what the council member in this email failed to mention in the hypothetical scenario is that the state legislature and the federal government have passed and are pursuing more laws that remove the rights of trans and non-binary people. That is not true for the protected groups mentioned in that email. It's not true yet. This is more than a concern or an ideology or an agenda. For our trans neighbors, this is a potentially life-changing issue for them. This year, the Iowa legislature passed a bill that repealed the law protecting transgender and non-binary Iowans from discrimination in employment, housing, healthcare, education, and more, making Iowa the first state to take away civil rights from a formerly protected group. It is because of this that we need the city of Coralville to recognize our trans and non-binary neighbors and pass this resolution to protect them from discrimination. The removal of gender identity as a protected class in Iowa is a danger to all of us. This makes our civil right protections subjective to how someone else views our gender expression. Even though I don't identify as trans or non-binary, I'm a cisgendered heterosexual white woman. A landlord could choose to deny my application for housing because my gender expression may not meet their expectations of what a woman looks like. When civil rights are removed from one group, it opens the door for removing rights for all of us. I would like to leave you with a quote from the historian Evan Carton in his book about the abolitionist John Brown. He paraphrases Henry David Thoreau, writing that, quote, the most spiritually corrosive life is lived by relatively privileged members of democratic societies who know in their hearts that their elected government is doing great wrong in their names, but they do nothing to stop or correct it. As a privileged member of our democratic society, it is our responsibility to correct or at least protect our neighbors from the great wrong that is being done by our federal government.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Swanka, and we are here to discuss the Equal Protections Resolution. An argument has been made, and will probably be made again tonight, that the Coralville Code already offers this protection. And that may be true. But the issue tonight is not a new law. It is not a new executive order. It is not even a new city ordinance. This is a resolution and a reaffirmation. A reaffirmation that despite the state's actions, the city of Coralville will respect and protect the human rights of the LGBTQ+ community. Some of you may not understand. It's fine to not fully grasp. You only need to listen to those telling you that they're scared and that this resolution would make them feel safer in our community. In 5, 10, hopefully not 20 years, when the community isn't under attack, maybe we can remove some redundancies and clean up our books. But tonight, I hope that you provide this reaffirmation and commitment to our friends and neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor.
Good evening. I'm Dan Wohlers. I'm a 24-year resident of Coralville. I'm here today to express my strong support for the Equal Protections Resolution. This resolution is important because it recognizes that our city's strength comes from its diversity. Our community is made up of people from all walks of life, and when we take a minute to truly see our differences, we can recognize how rich and vibrant our town is. In these difficult times, it's more crucial than ever that we stand in solidarity with those who may feel marginalized by government actions. The LGBTQ+ community, in particular, is facing growing threats to their rights and safety. This resolution sends a clear message that no matter what happens at the state or federal level, Coralville will remain a safe and welcoming place for all of its residents. By passing this resolution, you are not just making a statement, you are taking action to protect our neighbors, our friends, and our community. But I do have to say I'm deeply disappointed that this resolution had to come from citizens rather from the City Council itself. When people in our community face the threat of losing their rights or protections, our leaders should be the first to speak up, not the last to respond. It shouldn't take residents writing their own resolution and coming here to plead for basic fairness and equality. That's what leadership is for. When justice is on the line, the council should be out front, standing up for everyone in this community without hesitation. Waiting for citizens to push you into action isn't leadership, it's avoidance, and we deserve better than that. I would also like to note that I've emailed the mayor and council about the need for an ordinance to regulate flock and other surveillance systems in Coralville. I appreciate that the mayor responded, thank you, but I've not received a reply from any council members. I hope discussions are taking place among the council and that we can look forward to a robust and transparent conversation about privacy protections for the residents and visitors of our city. I'm disappointed that this discussion has been postponed until after the upcoming election. It would help voters make informed choices if those running for offices made their positions clear before the election. The community deserves to know where each candidate stands on protecting privacy and ensuring accountability in Coralville's use of surveillance technologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Not quite as tall. Hi, my name is Molly Enochson. I come here tonight as an ally, a family member, and a friend of my community to ask for the adoption of this resolution at Chapter 26. While I applaud the Council of 2007 enacting this ordinance, I do find reason to make these adjustments, and certainly now more than ever. Per the definitions laid out by Section 2603 of gender identity, no care is given to those of us who fall outside of the binary. Masculine, feminine, male, female, these are the descriptors given to those protected under the current ordinance, with no mention of our trans, non-binary, or intersex neighbors. With the onslaught of legislative attacks from the state and federal government within recent years, this resolution does in fact broaden the umbrella to include those not currently protected by the state. Those who fear an uncertain future, but deserve to know that their community stands with them no matter what. For those of you who think that this sets an unnecessary precedent and vocally wish for this to be stricken from the agenda, I do hope you would listen to any other protected or any other group or individuals facing persecution and would want to work towards building a safer Coralville for them and any other voices that aren't being heard. You don't really have to lose sleep over it. Just do the right thing and use the privilege that you have currently, and actually, or I mean procedurally, if that rings truer for you, include everyone who wishes for a simple assurance of safety.
Thank you. All right.
Good evening, Council. My name is Morgan Sauce. I live in Iowa City, but I work in Coralville. I want to thank everyone here for allowing the proposed resolution to go to a vote and encourage you to vote in favor. If you're concerned about how this resolution applies to the vastly cisgender majority of Coralville, I will remind you that our state's rescinding of civil rights is not on the basis of being transgender, but on an employer, bank teller, or landlord thinking a potential client seems transgender enough to discriminate against. There is no tick box to register whether you are transgender on any legally identifying documentation, nor can you tell by looking at someone if they are transgender. Some examples of cisgender people who may seem transgender enough to discriminate against include menopausal and postmenopausal women going on estrogen to help with their symptoms, women with PCOS, anyone with an ambiguous or unisex name like Aaron or Aaron, depending on the spelling, men or women going on testosterone to treat chronic illnesses such as migraines or hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, men who do not cut their hair for religious, spiritual, or cultural reasons, women whose hair is too short, have alopecia, or are going through chemotherapy, and intersex people. This is a non-exhaustive list of people the Equal Rights Resolution also will affirm their right to equal treatment. When you take away rights from one group, you take away rights for all. The opposite is true as well. Affirming the right to exist for transgender people affirms rights for us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before I begin, just to clarify, for people that haven't been to the meeting before, they may not understand how sign up works. So is it all right if I put this sign up sheet over
Absolutely,
there?
you bet, you bet. Of course.
All right. My name is Tara McGovern. As we quickly advance upon an election that has the potential for real change in our local Coralville government, I have been thinking a lot about legacy. At the last council meeting, despite the objections of the only 2 councilors who took time to understand the risks, you voted to lock Coralville residents and visitors into a future of unregulated, warrantless AI surveillance, which disproportionately impacts marginalized communities. Councilors Swin and Knutson will carry the legacy of having done what was within their power to do to prevent this outcome, and for this they have our gratitude. Another legacy that you will all carry is your refusal to take accountability for the manner in which this contract originated and was carried out. Even Flock, the AI surveillance company you've shackled us to, produces written propaganda instructing potential customers on how to get city councils to agree to contracts. But our Flock contract was signed without you. This same pattern of obfuscation and lack of transparency has tremendous relevance to the resolution on today's agenda. Similar resolutions that have already been unanimously passed by Johnson County and the City of Iowa City were also prepared by the Johnson County Trans Advisory Committee, which was formed after 7 trans people were targeted by the University of Iowa Police Department and the Johnson County Attorney's Office. Here, too, obfuscation and lack of accountability by the Johnson County Democrats Central Committee made it clear to us that a group formed of and by the people affected was the only way forward. The resolution on the agenda today is very literally the least you can do for trans Iowans. And even this triggers the objections of people who either don't know that trans Iowans were erased from the state civil rights code in February, or don't believe we should have civil rights in the first place. These odious opinions about our inherent worth have no relevance to the truth, which is that trans Iowans have always been here, and we will always be here, protecting and caring for each other. You can fix your hearts or not, but the truth remains that the people always have had and always will have the power. Vote with your conscience and know that our work continues with or without you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sean McRoberts, a member of the Johnson County Trans Advisory Committee, and I want to give thanks to Katie Freeman for their leadership with the committee and leadership in bringing the equal protection resolution to you this evening. And I especially want to thank Tara McGovern for their courageous leadership, which has inspired so many of us, and their advocacy, which has made this moment possible. We wouldn't be here without them. I also want to thank this council once again for taking up this resolution this evening. Trans people need your leadership, need your allyship, particularly in Coralville, but also across this region. We need our institutions and our governments to stand with us against continuing attacks by the state and federal government. Since I last spoke here, just weeks ago, elected leaders have falsely blamed public violence on trans people, have attempted to classify speech supporting trans people as terrorism, and 2 members of Congress have suggested institutionalizing all trans people. This pattern of dehumanization is part of a larger strategy to divide our communities and to consolidate anti-democratic power. It is particularly dangerous for trans people now and a real threat for all of us in the days ahead. Supporting this resolution, on the other hand, sends a vital message. It says that Coralville will not abandon trans folks, will not allow our communities to be divided. Coralville will not participate in a campaign of fear It sends a message that we stand together, our liberation intertwined. We are counting on the support of the whole council, but I want to address Councilor Vogelsang in particular. I've heard your concerns, framed as procedural about a resolution like this. You worry about precedent, that this may lead to a series of statements supporting various constituencies regarding many issues. Your hesitation surprised me, so I did some research, and I learned that Coralville does not often make public statements like this. But the precedent already exists. From time to time, the council makes statements and calls on other governmental bodies for action, as it did in May of 2020, responding to the impact of COVID-19 on the people of Coralville, in a resolution supported by Councilor Goodrich and then Councilor Foster. When the community is threatened, the city council is uniquely situated to speak and to act for the good of the city. So a resolution like this is not a slippery slope of appeasing interest groups, but a higher ground of moral leadership, giving public voice to people who are suffering. This kind of statement is not something to be avoided, but embraced and celebrated as part of the high calling of leadership, as public service by those uniquely placed in elected office. We need leaders like you, all of you, who are ready to fight for the people of Coralville, for trans folks, for all of us, for our human rights. Thank you. Please support this resolution.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Foster and members of the City Council. My name is Allison Bywater, and I live here in Coralville. I am finishing my final year of my doctoral program in counseling psychology, where I conduct research on anti-trans legislation in this state. While my education informs my perspective, I want to be clear that I'm here on my own volition and my views are entirely my own. As I said, I live here in Coralville. I'm a homeowner, a frequent visitor to the public library, and a parent. My child attends school in Coralville. They are curious, creative, and like many kids, still learning who they are. They also identify as gender diverse. When I read this resolution, I felt both gratitude and urgency. Gratitude that Coralville continues to affirm the dignity and safety of all people, and urgency because I see every day how necessary that affirmation is. In my professional work, I meet people whose mental health is directly shaped by whether they feel seen, protected, and valued where they live. Social acceptance is not abstract. It shows up whether a young child feels safe walking into school, whether a parent feels supported in advocating for their child, and whether families can trust that their city stands behind them. I have also seen, both as a therapist and as a parent, how life-changing it is when communities send a clear message: you belong here. In my qualitative research, an emerging theme among trans individuals experiencing trans legislation in this state is, I don't know what my local government is doing for me. You have an opportunity tonight. My participants, my clients, and my child deserve to grow up knowing that their city protects their rights, even when other levels of government fall short. They deserve to ride the Coralville bus, visit the library, and go to school without wondering if who they are will be used against them. As a counseling psychologist in training, I know that inclusive policies save lives. The data are unequivocal. When transgender and gender diverse people are affirmed, their rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidality drop dramatically. But this is not only about data. It's about what kind of a community we want to be. Coralville has already shown leadership. Upholding and enforcing these protections will continue that legacy. Please be a good steward of my vote, of our vote. You have power and privilege in your positions through the people that elected you. Use it well tonight. Pass this resolution not only to protect rights on paper, but to model the compassion, courage, and integrity that define Coralville at its best. And as a parent, I ask that you allow my child and every child the safety and freedom to continue exploring who they are without fear. That is what all of us want, a community where our children can grow up whole, loved, and protected. Thank you for your time and for standing on the side of inclusivity and humanity.
Thank you. Have anybody else that would like to address us?
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm going to be reading a statement mostly on behalf of my partner, and then I added some at the end. So, good evening. Some of you are wondering why I'm not the one speaking to you now. It's because I'm afraid to come to these types of spaces as a trans person. Imagine being so concerned to show your face just because of the possible violence of being who you are. I have lived in Iowa all my life. In those 27 years, Iowa has been my home, a place I was proud to be from, but now the only place I've called home no longer feels like it. My partner and I are waiting for the day we can leave to a place where I can be comfortable being out and who I am. Don't get me wrong, I love being an Iowan. I believe it's an amazing state, and I want it to stay that way, and I want to stay here. I implore you all to keep what I said in mind. Iowa has historically been on the side of the people, was one of the first states to legalize gay marriage. However, now the first state to take away the rights of myself and my fellow trans brothers and sisters and non-binary siblings to live, to be who we are. Our lives are ours. I wish more than anything that I never needed to write a statement to convince city members, city councilors to create an equality act so we can keep living our everyday lives. Why should this be a requirement? Why should this be a requirement when millions of others go about their days not having a constant stream of anxiety and worry about losing their jobs, their homes, and general safety? I know many do not understand or even agree with our choices. However, it shouldn't mean that we should be stigmatized for it. So please vote to pass this resolution to move forward in a more inclusive and safe space for Coralville. And then on behalf of myself, I just want to address some points that I've heard expressed. For one, it's been expressed that this would be singling out a particular group. This group has already been singled out. They were singled out on January 20th when Trump declared that the US only recognizes two sexes, even though that is scientifically inaccurate, just on the basis of intersex people alone. They were singled out again on February 28th when Kim Reynolds removed gender identity as a protected class in the Civil Rights Act. I also want to address your comment that you were seemingly unaware of the violence perpetrated towards trans folks and the larger LGBTQ community. This is a survey, specifically an Iowa State report coming out of the National US Transgender Survey. A third of the people in Iowa who have shown their ID and it's not matched the way that they presented were verbally harassed, denied benefits, asked to leave, or physically assaulted. A third. In Iowa. 48% of children in Iowa who were out or perceived to be transgender in K through 12 schools were verbally harassed, 15% were physically attacked, and 7% were sexually assaulted in K through 12. The most recent survey from the Trevor Project in 2024 also put out that 39% of LGBTQ young people across the umbrella seriously consider attempting suicide. 46% of transgender and non-binary people, youth, consider attempting suicide. This is a really serious problem. There is a lot of violence happening all the time, all day, as you've heard from many of the other people up here. I'm not quite as eloquent as my peers, but this resolution needs to be passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Roberts. I live in Iowa City and my pronouns are he and him. I'm here today to voice my support for the Equal Protection Resolution. This is personal for me. I've watched people I love be denied access to medical care and face discrimination in their schools and workplaces. Some of them ultimately had to leave the state after the legislature stripped away legal protections for their ability to find basic necessities like housing, employment, or medical care. Let's be clear. The resolution before you is a good first step on the journey to protecting our gender-expansive citizens from the very real and tangible harms being done to them right now. But it is only a first step on a long journey. To reference Pastor Martin Niemöller's famous poem, first they came for the trans people. Will we remain silent in the face of attacks on our friends and neighbors, or will we speak out? The choice is yours. And the next speaker is Hernandez, I believe.
Hi, my name is Michael Hernandez. So, 2 weeks ago, in my yard, my dog was attacked. This is her blood. During that day, my dog had a 5% chance to live. I'm blessed that she is alive right now. But literally, a minute beforehand, I was out there with my daughter. She is 2 years old. What are we doing to protect our people from these animal attacks? I have confirmed through my neighbors and lots of people just talking and protecting them and telling them, do not go down this street because there are 4 dogs in there with confirmed animal attacks. There are 3 dog attacks that I know of. 1 person that was attacked. 2 of those dogs are still in this house. And I have photos of myself covered in this blood right here. I'm not going to make you guys keep this. But literally, because of this attack, I'm very low on money. I want to put up a fence, but I can't afford it. Because everybody in my neighborhood right now is afraid. Because there are multiple children. Kids use this route to go to the school right near my house. It is 1 block away. Just literally the other side, there is another dog, same size. I don't know if that dog would live. My dog barely lived because of this. And so I brought photos, and I'm just going to bring them up.
And we'll follow up, because we've dealt with situations like that before. Thank you. Yeah, sorry that happened. But we will, did you get signed in? Did you sign in? Okay, cool. So we can follow up with you on that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Is there anyone else that would like to speak to us?
Hi, my name's Luke Ferguson. I've grown up here, and I would just recommend that we adopt this resolution. I think that if somebody comes to your house and asks for protection, you shouldn't just say, you're already protected, and then throw them back out on the street, you know? And my pronouns are he, him. I've loved this community because it's a safe community. I think we all feel safe, you know, whether it's early in the morning or late at night. I feel like we just have a really safe and inclusive community. And I've, found that people from all over the country and all over the world, find this to be just a wonderful community. And I would say if more people, come to this place of gathering and ask for your protection, then that, I think, really shows the progress that we've made as a civilization and as a community. And I think we should, listen to those voices and then protect them. And for people to have to come here and just ask for protection for basic human rights, I think that really says a lot where we are as a country and as a state. There were 1,000 anti-trans bills that were attempted to be passed just in these last few years. 431 of them were shot down because they were just downright unconstitutional. But that still leaves quite a few bills. There's a lot of unknowns for the future. I was working at a bar for an art show the day after people's human rights were stripped away. And I never want to feel that sorrow and that level of mourning again. It was absolutely heartbreaking to see my peers and people that I love, my neighbors, just in shock. I can't even explain, the emotions that we're going through. So I know that this resolution, it might not be enough, and we need to make more steps forward, obviously. But I think that it's really important right now that we, come together and we say, hey, look, you are protected here, you are welcome here, you know? And we've heard from, you know, counselors and people where right now if a kid is being bullied in school, our counselors aren't even able to provide counseling to them without fear of losing their job. That's where we are as a country. That's where we are as a state. So this is really a dire need for us to just say, hey, you are welcome here, you are loved here, and you are part of this community. So I thank you all for listening, and I really hope that you all find it in your hearts to do the right thing.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Fennec. I've lived in Coralville for 10 years now or more. I think it's pretty clear I'm in support of this resolution getting passed. And in fact, honestly, I shouldn't have to be here today. I should be at work, maybe with an earbud in, tuning in to listen to how this all goes. But then I got to see the email. And I got to see that at least one person sitting at this desk doesn't seem to understand the ramifications when it comes to, I don't know, just easily allowing mass surveillance to be installed, but suddenly is kept up at night worrying every day about maybe appeasing the trans people. That maybe other groups might say, hey, we feel we may not be adequately protected. You want to maybe confirm that for us? The thought of that inducing nightmares. So now I'm here to bring up how ridiculous that is and to really illustrate that this shouldn't be necessary. We should, as a community, be able to trust that our city council, that those that work for our city, those that make decisions for it, are going to have our back. Now, sometimes you can tell, sometimes you can't, but I'm one of those trans people around here. I'm even one of them they, thems that technically falls outside of the binary, making it all sorts of more difficult if I want any paperwork to be accurate. I shouldn't have to worry about having contingency plans in case I'm no longer able to access my health care or reliably expect to be able to find a new job or a new house or, well, apartment. I'll never have a house, let's be honest. I shouldn't have to worry about any of that. But I do. And I have to bring up that I have to worry about that because there are obviously some individuals here who cannot yet grasp that other people may have different needs than them and may have concerns about those needs being met. Now, I will say, I do appreciate everyone in this community who came up and spoke so well because it meant that I didn't have to worry about doing so. I very much appreciate everyone at the desk who already was in support of this and would have made it to where I wouldn't have had to show up. I also appreciate, Mike Knudsen, you did respond very well in that email to me when I put my concerns about the continuation of using Flock after we see that they are amping up the aggressive kidnapping of people within our community. I shouldn't have to be here, but I do. Some of you don't think this resolution is necessary, but it is. Also, this is relevant. I do understand that some of you only like to listen if it's a cop talking, so I thought I'd make you a little bit more comfortable. As a trans person, I have learned sometimes you have to change your dress up in order to make people listen to you. But I wanted it to be clear, I am not law enforcement. I'm MAID. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Is it okay if I
Oh,
hop
of
in
course. Yes, of course.
All right. Wonderful to be here tonight. My name's Nicole. A longtime resident here in Iowa City, and I'm here because our communities are deeply interconnected. And you know, we've been seeing in Iowa City, we've had many people come and talk about to City Council, which I will also want to note, you have a beautiful City Council space. I think Iowa City could actually get on your level there. But anyway, coming and sharing the housing and employment discrimination they're experiencing over and over and over. And I'll be honest tonight, I hope you vote yes for this equal protections resolution, but it will not solve everything. But it will send a signal that you care and you see it. And that truly, deeply matters. I sincerely hope you pass it. I think all the time, I'm from small town Iowa where trans people live also. And those folks sometimes look towards Iowa City and Coralville and wonder, is this a place I can be more safe? And tonight you have a chance to send them that signal that, yeah, it is. And I really, I hope you pass it. There's so much more I'd like to say. I guess one last thing is, I don't want to have to note this, but trans misogyny affects people beyond trans people. There are people who innocently go into a bathroom and are accused of being trans for whatever reason. Maybe they have some kind of genetic condition that makes their hair grow fast, so they'd have to, if they wanted to present within the binary, be shaving their face every 2 hours or so to be able to present as people feel more comfortable. Trans misogyny, will not go away with this resolution, but I sincerely hope you vote yes, each and every one of you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we heard from everyone. Good enough. All right. With that, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our equal protection resolution. So this is the resolution that would reaffirm Chapter 26 of the Coralville Code of Ordinances. That is our human rights ordinance. Now, before we read the resolution, one thing I did want to note, there was an error on the agenda that the title of this is incorrect, and that was a mistake that happened when I was sent the original document back in August. I shared it with the city clerk, and at the top of that, it said human rights protections, and he just pulled that from the top of that document. But we have heard feedback that that should be changed, so I would entertain a motion to change the name of this agenda item to Equal Protection Resolution. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That agenda item is amended now. And apologies for that. It was a mistake. Like I said, I sent on the document that I received, and the city clerk just pulled it from there. Okay. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution affirming equal protections in the city of Coralville. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Okay. How would we like to begin our discussion on this? We've already had a discussion back at the September 5th meeting, but council members Nguyen and Peterson were not in attendance. Would you like to start? But yeah, since we haven't heard from you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you to each and every one of you who showed up, continue to show up, taking time out of your busy schedule and educating us on issue that we are not well educated on. I do agree that, as leaders in community, we need to be, first and foremost, always be upfront when it comes to addressing issue that is affecting our resident. But I also would like to point out that we are all busy people. We do have a full-time job, and so sometimes time just doesn't allow for us to be able to do that, and so we rely on you all to bring issue toward us and educating us. So please continue to do so. This is important. Council 18 years ago are wise. They know that, there are groups, there are community that might come under attacks. None of us want to predict that future, but here we are. Here we are, and it is going to get worse before it get better. So this resolution is the way for Coralville as a city to reaffirm that every single person that live here in Coralville or frequent Coralville deserve equal protection. Doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter if your hair is red or blue or black, you know, we all bleed red. We all are humans, and we all deserve the same rights. You know, federal and state strip the right of our trans community. They are human just like us. I have people in my life who are perfectly normal, just like you and I. They just happen to identify themselves differently. They just happen to not use the pronoun she, her, or he, him that we all used to for as long as, you know, the US become a country. That was 400 and something years ago. But you know, in other countries, pronouns cover everything, not just he, she, or him, he. We should learn that from other countries as well. It's time that we look to other countries who do the right thing, and we continue to do the right thing. I would not want for anyone who look different to walk down the street and fear for their own safety just because they identify differently, just because they look differently. Nobody should have to carry that fear. We can't do anything as far as state and federal law, but we can do something here, right here in Coralville, and this is what we're doing. Is we reaffirming that, you know, human right, but we also add in measure to make sure that equal right protection is in place so that every single human being in Coralville feel seen, protected, and loved. So thank you. And thank you for continuing to show up, and thank you for continuing to speak up, and thank you for continuing to educating us.
All right, thank you, Guy. Do you have anything you want to say, Royce?
Absolutely. I happened to be at the Capitol the day that they stripped those rights away from this community, and then I was very upset. I think that, you know, it's wrong when you strip the rights away from anybody, right? I'm very well with the quote, or aware of the quote you were talking about earlier. It's funny because I was looking that up before I came here tonight from Martin Niemöller from World War II, where he said, first they came for the socialists, and then I did not speak out because I was not a socialist, and they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And there was nobody left to speak for me. So I'm very aware of that quote. I'm also aware of struggles when it comes to getting ordinances passed and laws put in place through local government and through state government. In every situation, we've had to bring that law to them. Unfortunately, they just don't do it. So, you know, in defense of this body, like what Hai said, we all have jobs, and it's hard for us to put those things together, and thank you guys for doing that. But in every situation I've ever been in, trying to get laws passed and ordinances passed, we've had to bring them to the body. So thank you guys for doing that. When I originally met with Katie and Tara about this ordinance, I was on board, and I'm on board now. So thank you guys for bringing it to us, and you are absolutely 100% correct. Everybody should have protection. So thank you.
Thank you, Royce. Anyone else want to weigh in? Do we have any other thoughts? Or I had a lot to say at the last meeting. I suppose the only other thing that I would just add, you know, we've had a lot of conversation about, you know, how things have always been done, the way we do things, And, you know, I think that a lot of the issues and a lot of the challenges that we have been having lately, whether it's this or whether it's with the flock situation, I think it's just all pointing to the fact that there are some things that really need to change in the way that we operate. And, you know, it is, it's true. It is true. And a lot of times, you know, communities go through these periods of evolution, of the ground shifting, and it's hard. It's really hard. It's really painful for, you know, everybody, and it's scary. Everything that we're going through right now is scary, you know, and I think that we're seeing a lot of trauma resurfacing. I know that, I think that we've seen a lot of it with all of us up here, and we're certainly seeing it in the community as well. And so I'm well aware that, you know, this as well as some other issues that we've been facing do really point to the need that there are some big changes that need to happen. And I want to talk, you know, along those lines, I want to talk specifically about the use of resolutions, because I will admit that, you know, initially I had that same opinion that resolutions should only be used for certain things, that we shouldn't, you know, that they should be kept to just, you know, annexation or any of the other stuff that's on our agenda. You know, I felt that way. And then I had a community member say to me, you know, that viewpoint of resolutions only being for business is a way to prevent progress. It's a way to prevent, you know, having hard conversations, and that was something that really had an impact, and it changed the way that I view that, the way we use resolutions. You know, Katie knows this. I had initially thought, you know, doing a statement instead of a resolution, but after listening and again just realizing that we have to change the way we do some things around here, and so that's where I have landed on, you know, being very strongly in favor of this resolution, of using, this is an appropriate use of resolutions, by the way. Councilmember Goodrich pointed that out at the last meeting. I will say, I think we should look at, you know, each situation. I think that right now stuff like this is very important because of the climate that we are in, because we have got to be abundantly clear about where we stand. And this, as a lot of folks have pointed out, will not solve everything that is happening. But again, I think it is an important show of support. And, you know, after talking to a lot of the community members, after hearing from a lot of the community members, I mentioned this at the meeting on September 5th. I visited the Trans Advisory Committee meeting, and I was really inspired by the work that they were doing, because they are really thinking outside of the box in coming up with different ways to create protections for the community. And I think that that's something that, you know, in addition to this resolution, that as a city we should also be looking at as well. So I think it's important to acknowledge when there is a need for change. I think it's important to acknowledge when, you know, things that maybe worked before aren't working anymore. And that's where I'm at, and I'm always going to be in support of affirming the protections of the LGBTQ plus community members that we have here in Coralville and beyond. So that's where I'm at. Does anybody else have any other thoughts or anything they want to say?
Yeah, I'll share a few thoughts.
Okay, sure.
Unless it's an emergency situation, I don't make quick decisions. I've thought, with the exception of a couple days while I was on vacation, I've thought long and hard every single day about this issue. Every single day. I don't take a myopic view of many things. I've meditated about this. I've had conversations with a lot of people in our community, in our area, across the cultural spectrum, including a pastor. I take my oath very seriously. I take my obligations seriously. And I look at issues with a wide scope, as wide as I can. I think our Chapter 26 is a very inclusive, a very detailed ordinance. I fully support it. The purpose of this chapter is to protect the people of Johnson County from discrimination on the basis of age, color, creed, disability, gender identity, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. That's the very first line. Section 26.05 talks about some prohibitions. Paragraph A talks about denial of service. It is unlawful for any person to deny any other person. That's all inclusive, right? Includes all people. Any person. It's unlawful for any person to deny any other person, the full and equal enjoyment of the goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages of any place of public accommodation because of age, color, creed, disability, gender identity, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. Pretty inclusive. It's pretty broad, pretty inclusive. 12 pages of this ordinance. And by the way, 6.5 pages of it deals with enforcement procedures. It's something that this ordinance takes very seriously, okay? It's not something that's taken lightly. Make one other comment. There's a lot of crap that's going on in national level and state level that I don't agree with, okay? I don't agree with. This proposal, in my mind, it simply reiterates what's actually already covered in detail in our current Chapter 26. Talks about any person, and that means everybody. I acknowledge that you may experience some level of discrimination. I acknowledge that. I do. I also think about other segments of our population, other minority segments of our population that are also suffering some discrimination. I often think about our Jewish friends who are experiencing outright brutal discrimination publicly. That's been going on a long time. I've said it publicly, and I know a lot of the comments that I've heard tonight. I sent an email to a person behind this desk, but obviously it was shared publicly, which I did not expect. But based on a lot of the comments that I've heard, obviously it was shared. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it. I don't care how people live. In the core of my soul, I don't care how an individual lives until they do harm to other people. I want you to understand that. I don't care how people live until they do harm Okay? I want everybody to live a safe and happy life. I don't hate anybody. I hate no one. I'm not qualified to judge people. I leave that to our Creator. He's the only one that can judge people. My objection to this resolution is purely procedural. It's not a personal thing, it's procedural. Having said that, I will not support the adoption of this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just a couple of, just one thing I do want to note are all of our emails are public record. And when community members ask to see things that are sent over our city email, and like when the press asks for emails as well, we do have to accommodate those requests. So that is not a private channel. And maybe that's a good reminder for everyone up here and everyone in the room, is that all of our emails are subject to public records requests. And when we have a member of the public that asks to see something, then we are required by law to share it. So I do just want to point that out. And your objections are noted. Appreciate sharing your thoughts. Does anybody else have anything that, Mike, did you have anything you wanted to share, or Lori?
Madam Mayor, I would like to vote.
Okay. How about you, Mike? Would you like to vote? Do you have anything you want to say?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
You know, what Richard said, resonates a little bit, but I think he said something along the lines, until somebody harms me or harms somebody. Yeah. And in my lifetime, we've made a lot of progress on LGBTQ issues. You know, you think back to I don't remember much of the 60s, but the 70s, and I was born then, but gay marriage has been approved, and transgender people in many cities, at least in the U.S., can at least be out and about, unlike probably 40, 50 years ago, I feel. But we've taken a giant step back at this point, and our state reps harmed people when they did that, and our federal government is trying to harm people and trying to use this issue. So this is a small step we can take to counteract that harm that's been done. So if you're opposed to harm, you should be for this.
The problem is constantly reminded of this, that regardless of how many laws are on the books, how many ordinances, policies that are on the books, discrimination still comes down to one-on-one. We can have all the laws on the books as we want to, but if somebody wants to discriminate against another person, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
It's not right, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I would just add that while one-on-one discrimination absolutely can happen, majority of discrimination is systemic. And yeah, it really is. And, to Mike's point, when we talk about harm, that is one thing I think about when, that like a lot of times governmental bodies are the ones that do perpetrate the harm. And so this is a step that we can take to mitigate that where it's happening in some other places. And equal protection, it's not pie. Everybody deserves it. And I think just because we are talking about one group of folks right now doesn't mean that that we care any less about other folks. And that's been mentioned repeatedly. That when you come for one group, it makes it easier to come for other groups as well. So, that's where we're at right now, and I think that is why this is important. And do we have any other comments?
May I just say something real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Yes, the ordinance spell out 12 pages, just like Councilmember Vogelsang point out. But there's nothing wrong with detailing it a little bit more, spell it out a little bit more, especially in this current political climate. Because when we use vague language, that's when harm can happen. And 1998, gosh, I can't do math. October 12, 1998, Matthew Shepard. If you have not read that story, I would advise you to read that story. His death is the result of the discrimination that someone did not like the way he looked or his sexual orientation. That is the result of his death. So it's happened. You know, when you say that I will do something but only if it's harmed me, what if it's harmed your neighbor? Will you do something if somebody want to harm your neighbor? Wouldn't you want your neighbor to have the same security and safety that you have? And if we have the power to do that, why wouldn't we? You know, why wouldn't we want to do that? And the people come and ask us for just the simple resolution so that they feel safe, so that they feel that, you know, we heard them, so that they know that they are protected in our community. Why would we deny them of that?
Okay, let's vote.
That's good. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Sorry, Lori. I didn't mean to keep you late.
I'm not a debater.
I'm not debating.
sorry.
I'm just pointing out that, you know,
I
it
keep her
just.
ready. Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm good.
Okay.
Clearly, people want to go home, so I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go ahead and vote. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Nay.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. All ayes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you very much. Excellent. Good deal. All right. I like it when we can celebrate good things. Okay. So let's move on now to our next agenda item on annexation. This is for the annexation of parcel 225047, which is 6.22 acres and adjacent to the Forever Green Heights subdivision. The public hearing for this will be on October 28th, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the annexation application of GRD Burleson LLC. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Any discussion on this item? Questions or discussion? Okay.
Kelly
Go ahead.
had sent something in the notes to know about an agreement we had with North Liberty, because this is right on the border between us.
We had a previous boundary agreement with North Liberty, but when that expired, they chose not to move forward with renewing it, but they said they were going to honor the agreement.
And what was the agreement?
Where the boundaries would be. And this
was in
Coralville.
Oh, this was, okay. So
Yeah.
this was in the original,
Yes.
that original agreement. Okay. Okay. Because if I figured out where this was, it seems like it's that corner there, right at that roundabout, right?
Yeah, there's a.
Just a
it's
little
at-
bit.
It's at the section line is what the agreement was between North Liberty and Coralville, and this is south of the section line.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, 198 First Street and 106 First Avenue. This change in land use This change in land use is changed to mixed use and will match the rest of the Gather Iowa development properties to the west and the north of these lots, which were amended to mixed use in 2021, and this is the second reading of this ordinance. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1014, an ordinance amending the Coralville Community Plan to reflect certain property generally known as 198 First Street and 106 First Avenue, Coralville, Iowa, to be designated mixed use in place of corridor commercial use. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item?
Aren't they mixed use now?
The land use, go ahead, I'll have Dave. He's the expert.
It's the two properties we purchased, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're already mixed use. I don't get it.
The
Not
land
really.
use map,
The land- What's that?
technically, the land use map has not been amended. Prior to this, the developer had not yet had these properties under contract or had the ability to pursue entitlement issues such as rezonings, land use amendments, things like that. So this really is the last two properties in the overall Gather Iowa development that still needs to be changed to mixed use in order to conform with the overall development, master development plan concept.
And it was commercial before.
Correct.
Even though one of them is an apartment building.
Correct. And one of the properties is actually a non-conforming industrial zone property as well.
Okay.
So we're cleaning all of this zoning and land use up.
I guess I'm asking, how did we let an apartment building go up on a commercial zoned area?
Because that would have been prior to that zoning, because that building
yeah,
is that
yeah.
old.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gets complicated, sorry.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Nguyen.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next item, we have building codes adoption. This is the second reading of this ordinance, and this will adopt the 2024 editions of several different building codes as well as some amendments. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Yes. Ordinance number 2025-1015, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, is previously amending and adopting by reference the 2024 International Building Code, 2024 International Residential Code, 2024 International Fire Code, 2024 Existing Building Code, 2024 Property Maintenance Code, 2024 Fuel Gas Code, 2024 International Pool and Spa Code, the Iowa Mechanical Code, the Iowa Electrical Code, the Iowa Plumbing Code, and the Iowa Energy Conservation Code, all with amendments thereto. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelsang. Do we have any other questions or comments on this agenda item?
Just want to thank staff for working on this and get this updated. I think it's time. We needed that update.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them on there.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Lots of work, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any other comments? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Nguyen.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next item, we have WWTP Biosolids pump replacement. This This public hearing for the replacement of the biosolids pump at the wastewater treatment plant will be held on October 28, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan specifications, estimated cost and form of contract for the wastewater treatment plant biosolids pump replacement. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Do we have any questions or discussion on this item?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right. Could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Nguyen.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have the sanitary sewer rehabilitation. And this would set the public hearing for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation on October 28th, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knudsen, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Do we have any questions or comments or thoughts?
Just wanted to remind the public that this is the best time to come and voice your comment regarding any of the issue. So public hearing is the best time to come and talk about issue.
Yep.
That's on the
Yes.
agenda.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That is a really great point. That is a really great point. Do we have any other thoughts or comments before we vote? Okay, roll call.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
The resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, water plant filter media replacement and repairs. This would set the date for the public hearing on this agenda item for October 28th, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the water plant filter media replacement and repairs. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Quinn. Any comments or thoughts on this item? Okay, roll call.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. The next item, well 16 fiber optics installation. This is setting another public hearing for the installation of fiber optics at well 16, and this will be at the October 28th meeting as well. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the well 16 fiber optics installation. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Quinn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any thoughts or questions to add?
Is this for monitoring, constant monitoring of the well?
Yeah, and the operations, monitoring
Yeah,
and the
okay.
operation.
Anything else? Okay, roll call.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, procurement cards. This would allow the position of parking maintenance worker to be issued a procurement card by the city. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution designating the position of parking maintenance worker to the list of certain positions allowed to be issued a procurement card pursuant to the Coralville purchasing policy. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions on this item or comments? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have a lease agreement. This is a 6-year lease, and this would be for a restaurant in the former Arby's site on First Avenue. And this would have the public hearing for this would be on October 28th as well. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the proposal to enter into a lease agreement for 801 First Avenue. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Questions? Thoughts?
Oh, this is,
Public hearings.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
amazing. We're finally gonna do something with this. Considering that it's probably, nothing's gonna move behind Perkins for a little while. This is probably the direction we need to go. So, yeah, this is great. I'm glad to see that property getting put to use, so.
Anything else? Okay, roll call.
Goodrich. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, property acquisition for city projects. This is for the acquisition of property interests needed to reconstruct the intersection of Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive as a roundabout. Could I have that resolution read, please?
Resolution authorizing the acquisition of property interest for the Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive roundabout project. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Any thoughts on this one, folks? Questions or comments?
Maybe Kelly, if you could give the exact location and explain why the roundabout is needed right there, that would be helpful.
Yes, this
Thank
would
you.
be at the south entrance to Costco at that intersection, and it is the highest accident intersection in Coralville at the present time, and so this is a safety project that we have received some grant funds for, and the property owner adjacent Costco has been working with us on doing construction on their side of the project in conjunction with what we are doing as well.
And why did we decide to go with the roundabout instead of a four-way stop light, I guess?
Yeah, basically cost and efficiency of operations.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
I was amazed to find out that we do get grants for roundabouts for emissions, which was surprising to me. So, but anybody that's sat at that stop sign trying to get into Costco gas station or go left to get to the DMV in that section would know that something needs to be done, so I'm glad something's.
There's a lot of blind spot there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This project can't start soon enough.
Yes.
All right. Any other thoughts? Okay, roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, or next part of this agenda item is for the acquisition of property interests needed to construct portions of the Forever Green Road extension between 12th Avenue and North Liberty Road. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution authorizing the acquisition of property interest for the Forever Green Road extension projects. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Any questions or discussion on this one? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Gather Iowa project. This is for the transmission lines for the Gather Iowa project, and they will be relocated adjacent to the Iowa Interstate Railroad right-of-way. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving easement agreements with Mid-American Energy Company in connection with the relocation of the transmission line through the Gather Iowa development. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Any questions or discussion?
I just point out, if you've been down through that area, right there at the corner of First Avenue and First Street, all of that work that's going on right there is for the relocation project. And so that they are staging, getting all their construction ready.
And that was a really big hang-up
Yes.
on this project.
Yes,
for
that
sure.
was the key for
Yeah.
probably 10 years.
Almost killed the deal.
Yeah, it did, it did for real,
So east of First Avenue there, they've done some work on the power lines too. Is that part of this, or is
Yes.
that separate?
Yeah, no, they have to do work on the east side as well as on this, both sides, because it actually crosses First Avenue and goes over to a pole that will be on the east side and then comes back over. And then it also, in conjunction with all of this, I think they're doing some work with the University of Iowa in conjunction with this on the line, transmission line that goes up to the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if there's any road closure for that work.
Well, I don't know. I would guess maybe at some point there'd have to be a brief one, because when you put that line across to First Avenue, but it should be very minor.
Yeah, I never really noticed those poles as much now that the buildings are all gone. When you
Yeah.
drive by there, they stick out. They're huge. They're massive, so I could see where that would hinder the project without them being moved, so.
And
Yeah,
this is a
those-
safety issue too, correct?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
and those large cages that are on the property there that they're building, those are the foundations for each one for a pole, so you can see how massive those are.
And some today, they're big.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, could I have the roll call?
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And now we have the second part of this agenda item. This is part of the Gather Iowa project as well. And the existing Second Avenue will be relocated from its current location to the west side of this development, and the intersection of Second Avenue and Second Street will become a signalized intersection. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing for the purpose of disposing of the existing Second Avenue right-of-way located south of Second Street. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, second.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Any questions or comments? All right, roll call.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, West Land Use Area Connection Fees. This acknowledges the payment for the connection fees levies against the subdivision. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution acknowledging payment in full of the West Land Use Area Connection Fees for Coralville West Village Part 1, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelsang. Questions or comments? All right, could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And next item, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Madam Mayor, I would like to ask council to consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, A to Q.
Moved by Wynn, could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. Next up, we have the city administrator's report.
Just one item, Madam Mayor. Next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, on October 23rd, there will be an ice cream social and informational meeting about Lost at Northridge Pavilion. They're trying to get around to different parts of town. This will be a drop-in only, so you can just stop in, get some ice cream, and ask your questions and get further information.
Nice.
And, oh, I'm sorry, that'll be 5:30 to 6:30.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that update. Okay, mayor's report. I do have a couple things. First, I just want to, again, say thank you to everyone who came and spoke tonight. Like I said, I always am happy when we have things to celebrate, and this is a good one, and I appreciate all of the discussion that we had up here about that issue. I did want to just give an update on we have had some folks reach out about updating the policy with the flock cameras. We've had some folks asking about an ordinance, and I did just want to note that I have had some one-on-one conversations with council members. I do have that work. We have that work going on. The ACLU actually made the suggestion as well about the ordinance strengthening the policy. So I think there's a lot of their guidance that we can follow on that. And we've heard from community members as well. I know that a lot of the council members had read and are very familiar with the law that is passed in New Hampshire, the current law that exists. And I think it is a good idea to use that as the basis of anything that we get passed. So all of those conversations are happening. I do apologize about the timing. I know that it's not great, and I've taken responsibility for a little bit of a delay on that, just because I haven't been feeling well lately. I've gotten behind on my work. I own that, and I will acknowledge that. And I know that it would be better if folks could hear directly from the candidates before the election. And I would just, again, encourage all of the folks that are running to read up on those things, make sure that you are being able, you have your opinions about that, because it is true, the community deserves to hear your thoughts on those issues. And I know that some of the folks, like I said, a lot of you are already familiar with some of the components of what we are looking at. I will be out of town on October 28th, so I just wanted to note that as well. I think we have some other folks that are going to be gone for that meeting. I also wanted to note just a couple other things that I want to be working on. Again, just, I noted that earlier. There's a lot of things that need to change. There's a lot of things that I do think we do well. I want to make sure that I'm still giving us credit for the things that we do really, really well. There's a lot. That is a lengthy list. I'm proud of a lot of the things that we've done here in Coralville and things that we are working on. But I do think that there's a lot that needs to be updated. There's a lot that needs to be clarified. I understand a lot of the frustration that people express when there's confusion about policy and that, again, things can seem kind of vague at times. And so I think that, we have a lot that we just need to look at and make some improvements on. One thing that I have already spoken to the city administrator about, I've actually had a conversation with Mike about this as well, is the procurement policy. Because I think that is something that absolutely needs to be fixed and changed and cleared up, so that we don't have a situation like we have had with Flock, with that happening. So lots of stuff to look at, lots of stuff to work on. All of these things are currently in motion right now. So we are moving forward with those things. One last thing that I did want to note is that we are coming up on budget time, correct, Kelly? Are our department heads starting to work on budget now?
Next month.
Next month?
Yeah.
Okay. So fall is when they usually start putting those things together, putting those things in motion. And this is a really, really good time to share feedback, to share thoughts. And I also wanted to note that the budget, the main budget meeting, where the department heads all sit around the table and present their budget proposals, that will happen early January. It usually happens prior to the first meeting in January, unless we have schedule issues, and then we might put it on another date. But at that work session, that's when you can hear all of the department heads' proposals. That's when we get our big budget book that we see that has a lot of the things, the priorities in that. And usually that's at like 5 o'clock. We have that meeting at about 5 o'clock, and then we continue to the regular meeting afterwards. So that's a work session. That is open to the public. We've always publicized that in all the ways that we need to, but I think that that's another example of something that we could do better. Find other ways to get the word out for that, encourage people to show up. Then we're going to have a lot of other meetings after that where the budget is tweaked, where we have discussions. I'll also note that there is a lot of volatility in our budgets right now because of the legislature and passing a lot of laws that, while we are working on our budget, that are limiting growth and that are penalizing growth, actually. So I would really encourage people to stay tuned, to welcome to come to that, any and all of those meetings, and we will find as many ways as possible to share that information out beyond what we currently do. And that is all I have for right now. Do you have anything, Kevin?
Well, I have something very important to talk about. Friday night's opening night for the Heartlanders. So
Okay.
they will be at Extreme Arena. For some reason, the schedule has them playing Friday night, going to Bloomington, Illinois on Saturday, and coming back Sunday to play the same team. I don't know who made that up, but so that's the opening weekend at the Extreme Arena.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds like fun. Okay. Committee and council members report. We'll start down at this end with Councilmember Goodrich.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention that we see a lot of essential services in our agenda tonight and next time, and just reminding people what essential services are. You know, the water, the wastewater, throughout our agenda. And also I wanted to really thank the cleanup that was done this last week with the streets solid waste department. And thanks so much for doing they used to call it the mayor's cleanup. It's, you know, just a great time to put stuff out for the garbage, but that means the garbage men have to, you know, have a lot of extra work. Also want to remind everyone, you'll be seeing this Coralville Connection in your mailboxes. Everyone from Coralville receives one, and there's just tons of great information, especially about the new rec center that we would like to propose, and other wonderful information for the winter. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Lori. All right. Royce.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank Mike Knutson for inviting me to the Houses of Homes fundraiser last Thursday. What a great organization. Walked away with a whole new light on what they actually do. Since then, I've found more volunteers and actually found a family that could use some help. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you, and we have a few people that are wanting to get on board with that. So thank you for that. Also, I look forward to High's fundraiser coming up. And I love pho, so cook a lot because I'll be there. And then, you know, ironically, I'm really disappointed that I missed the chili supper Sunday because I was actually helping a friend whose house caught on fire.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So, well, so that's where I was at. But anyway, other than that, you know, thank you guys for bringing that ordinance in front of us and being involved. I appreciate that. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot more.
Okay.
Except for I'm getting ready to break a lot of leaves. So.
Okay. Good enough. Good enough. All right. Hi, what do you have?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you again to folks who showed up and speak. Thank you to our city staff for continue to do their hard work to keep our city going. I just want to acknowledge that today's Tuesday, sorry, my brain. Yesterday, October 13, was Indigenous People Day. And I know that we didn't have a proclamation, but if there is a community member who would like to bring forth that proclamation, I'm sure our mayor would entertain that. And I just wanted to acknowledge that we are occupying indigenous land, and we need to remember that, you know, they were here before us, and they will always be here. This is their home before it become our home, and so we need to continue to, to make space, to make room, and welcome, make sure that they are part of our community, and we should do something in our city to honor that day. So, school board forum is tomorrow, Wednesday, October 15. I know that not everybody have kids, but a lot of us have kids in school. And so it is important to know where our candidates stand on issue when it comes to, education for our children. And so I would encourage you all to take some time. I think they do broadcast it. So if you can't make it to the senior center, please take some time to watch us online. There are 4 candidates running for 3 seats, and that will be at the Senior Center tomorrow from 7 to 8:30, and that's for the school board. And then for the City of Coralville, Mayor and City Councilor Candidate Forum, that will take place on Monday, October 27. I know that it's quite late because early voting starts tomorrow. And so that really doesn't give, our resident a lot of chance to learn more about a candidate who's running for office. But I would say that the Channel 4 of the city, they have candidate statement on there. Each of the candidates have about 4 minutes to kind of talk about, issue that they care about, their platforms, something about them. So I would say, take a look at those. That will give you an idea of who's running and what they are running on. And then there will be questionnaire that will be public from the Greater Iowa City. I think there's another organization that I can't think of right now, but those should be public soon. Yeah, the league will have some questionnaire as well. And so there's a lot of information on candidate and what they, what issue they are running from. So I would say take a look at those before casting your vote, because an informed vote will benefit all of us. And then the Coralville Forum will take place right here, 7 to 9 o'clock. And from our library, Baker & Taylor, which is the largest supplier of library content, shut down. And so that means that a lot of library, things that we used to might not be readily available. So I would just like to ask people to be patient with our library. If you utilize that service, just know that they are doing the best that they can with what they have right now. There's a lot of things that is out of their control. And so just be courteous when you go and request your reading material or whatever that may be that you need at the library. Just be nice to our librarian, please. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich?
Just the soup and chili and cinnamon roll dinner at the fire department. I did make an appearance, but I didn't eat anything because I was cooking ribs for a family dinner at home. So, but it was a good turnout. Our next meeting for the local option sales tax committee is going to be on the 22nd. So the campaigns for all 3 cities are going, hopefully they're going very well. They're certainly making a lot of presentations. So that'll be in addition to the ice cream social open house. So, great.
Is that all?
That's all.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I'm
Excellent.
sorry.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Also like to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Very strong advocates for their cause, and I really appreciate it. It's tough, and I feel for them. I'm going to be out next meeting. Kelly had asked about the rest of the year. Do not have any conflicts after that. I will be able, I think I'll be able to participate in the forum remotely. So on the 27th, we'll see if there are any technical issues, but I'll be in San Diego at a professional meeting, so you don't have to feel too sorry for me. And I just want to make clear, I think my feelings on the flock cameras are pretty clear, but my only official vote is against a policy. And I voted against the policy because I feel like it needs to be stronger, like Mayor Foster talked about earlier. It's not that I don't want a policy, it's that I want it to reflect our values a little bit better and be more specific, much more specific, and drill down on exactly what we want. And I certainly hope we can talk about that, and hopefully not at the next meeting, since I won't be there, and you won't be there either, so, but after that at some point. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Vogelzang,
Second.
seconded by Peterson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.